This is the first lesson for 10.3. I'm going to just jump right in, and if I have time at the end, I'm going to give you a little bit of a review. So we're on page 521, and we are going to learn a very important fact that you have to know, and it is above example 1. Let's see. Well, there was an activity, and the fact that was learned from the activity in the box is that the sum of angle measures in any triangle in the whole world is always 180 degrees. The sum of angle measures in any, that's so important, it will never change, in any triangle equals 180 degrees, okay? And you can see in example 1, a triangle there with 3 degree measures. Whoops, that's not a 3, it's supposed to be 26 and 83. Okay, so we'll just start with this one. Knowing this very important fact right here will allow you to answer the question in example 1. Okay, and I'm going to remind you again, plug in what you know. All right, what do you know? The sum of angle measures in a triangle will equal 180. What are the angle measures in this triangle? Okay, they are 83, it's the sum, so we're going to add them, 83 plus 26 plus x. This should look very familiar to you. We've solved equations, solved for a variable before. We did it in the last lesson. So quickly I will go over what you should do. Combine like terms, that gives you 109 plus x equals 180. Subtract 109 from both sides, and you would find that x would be 71. If you want to check, 71 plus 83 plus 26 has to and does equal 180 because it's the sum of angle measures in a triangle. Know this fact. Okay, little note at the bottom of page 521. And it is the definition. These two definitions will not be on your quiz, but they're going to refer to angles in some of the problems as interior and exterior. So let me explain what they're talking about. An angle inside a triangle is interior, okay? So these 3 angles are interior angles, and an angle outside of a triangle is called an exterior angle. And that's what that little box at the bottom of 521 is explaining. So keep that in mind because they will ask you, what's the measure of the exterior angle? Which I'll just remind you, in the last one, we found that this bottom right was 71 degrees. So that's enough information all by itself to solve for this angle. So I could say, what is the measure of angle A? And you should remember that these 2 angles, this one right here and this one right here, have a name. They're called something. What is it? It's supplementary because those 2 angles combined make a straight angle of 180 degrees. So you would be able to say 71 plus A is 180, and then you would find that A is 109 degrees. Okay, next one, example 2 at the top of 522. It says find the measure of an exterior angle. And that is represented in this problem by y. And I just explained to you how to do it. So it would be my suggestion that you pause the video, you find the answer to the measure of angle Y, and then you turn it back on and see if you're correct. But I will go through it very quickly. Again, two supplementary angles here forming a straight angle, so we know that they will equal 180 when added together. So we have 35 plus Y. We would subtract 35 from both sides and find out that Y is 145 degrees. All right, pretty quick one that based on the other example that I just threw in there, you should know how to do that. Okay, I'm going to now go over guided practice 1 and 2. So again, my suggestion is I've taught you from the examples how to do these two. Pause the video, try to solve them. If you have to look back at either example 1 or 2, do that. And I'm going to explain it here. Okay, first one, we have a triangle with 3 measures, one of which is unknown. The other 2 are 43 and 79. And we know that the sum of angle measures in any triangle is 180 degrees. So all I have to do is add these 3 together. 43 plus 79 plus x. When I combine like terms, I get, I don't know this one off the top of my head, so do a little math here. 122 plus x is 180. Subtract 122 from 180 and should get 58 degrees for the measure of the x angle. Okay? Guided practice number 2. You're given all the interior angle measures. You're finding, what do we call this Y angle? Exterior, and you're to find it. So you only need to know the 34 because angle that measures 34 and angle Y are supplementary. They form a straight angle together of 180 degrees when added together. So we have 34 plus Y. All we have to do is subtract 34 from both sides and find out that Y is 146 degrees. The next part of this lesson follows the key concept box in the middle of 522. We're going to talk about labeling or classifying triangles by angle measure, okay? And there are 3 different names for triangles. And you can determine the name based on the angle measures that they give you. So the first one is acute, and you can see in the blue key concept box that an acute triangle has 3 acute angles. Again, what is acute? You have to know this definition for the quiz on Thursday or Friday. An acute angle is any angle under 90 degrees, and you will see that 60, 70, and 50 are all under 90. They all also add up to 180 because they're in a triangle. So this is an example of an acute triangle. 3 acute angles under 90 degrees each, okay? The second type is a right triangle, and you will see the definition is that it has to have 1 right angle in it. Can it have more than 1? No. If it had 2 right angles, it could not be a triangle, right? There's no way to make that a triangle. And based on our rule that the sum of angle measures has to equal 180, we can only have 1 90-degree angle, okay? So this is an example of a right angle, and as I've mentioned before, they will always show you this, unless you're supposed to answer it, but they will always show you 90 degrees with the little squarish thing. And then the last type is obtuse, and you should know what an obtuse angle is. Tell yourself now. It is an angle over 90 degrees, but not exceeding 180. And so an obtuse triangle would be one with 1 angle over 90 degrees. And you can see in this one that it is that top angle of 120 degrees. And again, the angles measures would add up to 180. Okay, knowing this information, I want you to skip ahead to the bottom of 523 and answer 3 through 8. And then you're going to pause the video. You're going to answer those 6. When you come back, I will have the answers for you for all 6 of those. So you're back now, I'm assuming. And so number 3 at the bottom of 523, 40, 60, and 80 would be acute because none of the angles goes over 90 degrees. Number 4 has a 100-degree angle. That's obtuse angle, so the entire triangle is labeled as obtuse. Number 5 has a 90-degree angle in it, so it is a right triangle. Number 6 doesn't have any angles over 90 degrees, so it is acute. Number 7 has a right angle, so it is a right triangle. And number 8 has 114, that's obtuse, so it is an obtuse triangle. And that is how you classify triangles by angle measure. Okay, next key concept. We're going to skip congruent sides for just a second. I'll come back to it if I have time. So there's a different way. You can classify triangles not only by angle measure, but also by the length of their sides. So there are 3 types. The first one is equilateral. And hopefully you can see the 2 roots in this word, equa meaning equal and lateral meaning sides. So that an equilateral triangle has equal or congruent sides, okay? And their example there is that each one of these sides, though I did not draw it this way, is 9 inches. I do want to point out one thing that you will see over and over again, and that is these red hash marks, okay? When you see them and you see 1 on each place, it means wherever else you see a single line, which I'm messing it up by doing this, those sides are congruent, okay? So in an equilateral triangle, you would see the 3 red lines done much better in your book, but that means that they are equal, okay? And again, you can also see, and oh my goodness, I'm making a terrible mess of this triangle. You can also see it because they told you 9 inches on each side, okay? Isosceles is the second type. And I will tell you as I am writing out this long word that you do not have to have these memorized. They're not on the quiz that you will take tomorrow or the next day. Okay, isosceles triangle has 2 equal sides. And again, I'm going to show you sometimes you will see 2 hash marks. Now, they could have just done 1, but they chose 2 so that you can get used to seeing them, okay? But an isosceles triangle has 2 equal sides. And then a triangle that has no equal sides is called scalene. And though you do not have to know these definitions, they're not in the matching part of the quiz. I can't see the other part of the quiz. Yes, I can. Let me see. You have to classify angles. You do not... I don't think there's... I think I'm not looking at the right part of the quiz. I'll let you know. It's looking like... There it is. Hang on one second. You will have to classify 2 triangles by the length of their sides. So even though isosceles, equilateral, and scalene are not in the matching part, like the other 13 terms that we've talked about, you do have to know if you see one that doesn't have any equal sides, like that last one in the blue box, that it does have to be labeled as scalene.